just watching it on my phone now to see how long this takes to kick in. I'm not quite on yet. Having said that, I think we're live, according to think, because I've got it scheduled to go on at 8 o'clock, I think it actually will kick in at 8 o'clock. Nope, we're on. Right, we are on. I can now mute that. So you and I are now live, Darren, so take it away.
Good evening, everyone. A new dawn has, new dawn has broken on BHRC social media. We're not on Facebook Live tonight. We are live in vision on YouTube. And it was all possible to the lady in shot, Sarah Thomas. I can't see her, actually.
No, I can see you. I can see you. I can see me. You can't see me, which, I mean, I don't know why. I only made this effort for everybody else watching, because you can't see that I've straightened my hair and put contact lenses in and tried to make myself look presentable for a change.
You would have to mention hair. I have actually ordered the barber's clippers, but they're not going to arrive for another week.
So, this time next week, will you have had a haircut?
Evens, 50-50.
Right, okay. So everyone needs to tune in next week just to see what your hair looks like. You can't reveal it on Facebook during the week. If Sally has cut your hair before Friday, you're not allowed to do the reveal until Friday night.
Now, how fair with the egg, sugar and shot challenge?
I feel like somebody just said something there, but I didn't quite catch what you said, Darren. Something about eggs?
Yeah. Did it go well?
I'm doing mine at the weekend.
Yeah. You only have 48 hours. We don't too young to send you the challenge.
There we go. I've been nominated by a friend of mine as well from home, so I don't know if that means I've got to drink 2 eggs. I mean, it's difficult enough for constant drinking 1 egg. I don't want to get salmonella. That's my biggest concern. I don't want to put pressure on the NHS at this difficult time by getting food poisoning.
You're all heart. Well done to Kaylee Evans, Mel Danvers, Julie Park and Catherine Law. They're the ones I set the challenge to. I was actually going to nominate you, and then I realised you'd already been nominated. Did you see Julie Park's performance?
Yes, I did. Or performances, should we not say?
3 takes.
That's a lot of wasted eggs.
Yeah. No, it was something. In the end, she had assistance. In the end.
I think I'll need more than assistance. Can I do several alcoholic shots first before the egg?
What about Mel Danvers? To Mel, what was your shot? Thinking it was vodka or gin. It was water. Oh, come on, Mel.
No. She says it's water. This could be the double bluff. That could have been half a pint of vodka, and maybe we should ring her and see if she's all right.
Now, what news? We have exciting news tonight, Sarah.
Well, yes, we have exciting news. You have exciting news, and I get to hear it at the same time as everybody else. So I'm excited.
Yes, I'll be speaking to Mick Welling and Eric Witherspoon, Craig Stevenson, and we can confirm, subject to government guidance and British harness racing adhering to protocols, and bear in mind there are differing rules around TV at the moment, the 3 countries in Scotland and Wales. But all things being equal, there will be harness racing in 2020. York and Tia Prince have both signed up with an online bookmaker to take harness racing. So it's a live stream harness racing on an online bookmaker's platform. I think this is brilliant news.
That is fantastic news. This is what we've been waiting for. There's been a lot of, not speculation, but obviously a lot of work kind of lined up in the pipeline, and this looks now perhaps like it's coming to fruition. So I think that's massive news, in all honesty. That's huge.
So thanks to Mick Welling, Eric Winston, everyone at York and Tia Prince, and to Rasslab for making this possible. There may be other contracts in the future as well to follow, but we do have an agreement with an online bookmaker. The schedule hasn't been formulated yet, but that will be formulated over the coming weeks. As you know, the BHRC committee made the announcement the other day that there would be no harness racing on TV before July 1. So we are looking at July. Hopefully it will be sooner rather than later in July. You're going ahead with workout and qualifying days during June. So I think this is absolutely wonderful news, and I think it's a shot in the arm that the sport needs. What we want now is Wales and Scotland to open up, as well as England. That's what we really need.
I mean, I can put a call into Nicola. I've got her on speed dial. We are friends of old, Nicola and I, so I can maybe lean on her a little bit.
Right. Okay. Well, you've got a hotline. But yeah, so we're going in the right direction. That's positive. Because we did have some bad news in the week for Darren, obviously being cancelled and Hannah. But we're going in the right direction with the heart. Let's hope there's good news in Scotland at some point. We're racing at Cornwall and racing in Wales. But the news is that York and Seattle have signed up with an online bookmaker to cover harness racing. We're hoping that program of racing will begin in July. And next week, Sarah, we have a couple of special guests on this program.
Yes, all being well, all relying heavily on my ability to do this, we should have Eric and Mick live with us next week. So instead of seeing 2 squares with Darren and me, as everybody can see right now, we should have 4 little squares. So I'll have to squash my head into a little square. Technology is a learning curve for me, but we'll go for it. We'll wing it. I've been winging it so far, so I'll wing it a bit further on Friday. I might have to have slightly more to drink beforehand, calm my nerves, but no, it should. I mean, I'll speak to Eric and Mick individually during the week, get that all sorted out and set up and everything, and then by Friday night, hopefully we can have a 4-person live chat. Then they can give us more information.
Yeah, really good news. And obviously, when the schedule is set, we obviously the message out there to owners and trainers who will be in a position to race is to work on the clearance of their horses to race the BHRC. Last week, the horse of a lifetime, the champion of champions. What did you make of that thrilling race and the result?
Well, I actually missed. It went live, and because I was in such a flap about just the whole thing of going live ourselves, and one tiny little mistake that I may have made, that I may have taken very, very badly into heart, I actually missed the video starting off live. So I ran upstairs because I banished John upstairs in our house so he didn't distract me during the live chat, and he was watching it, and all I saw was the last quarter of the race. Obviously, no idea how it was going to pan out. And trying to listen to all these different names being shouted, had no idea at which point what driver was on what horse, or which horse was which, and it was a great finish. Didn't know who was going to come to the line in front, thought Doombeg was in with a shout, thought Gunner was in with a shout, Stonering's Mystery, really, really, I mean, they all would have been worthy winners, and I felt that beforehand, but Stonering's Mystery, that, yeah, he was clearly a popular winner, but I was happy enough with that result.
And the campaign now is to get all those horses inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That I've started. I did say to you before we went live, I have made like a little to-do list of things to do. It was specific to this live chat and the live chat next week, but I will add to that now to start trying to pull that stuff together. I know Julie's got photos, obviously, of the relevant horses that aren't already in the Hall of Fame, which is a good starting point. But perhaps, I mean, if there's people that want to contribute towards the Hall of Fame write-ups, people who could directly involved with the horses, in particular, would be quite good. Certainly with horses like Stonering's Mystery, you'd expect, people like Mick Lord to be able to contribute with a kind of a caption about them. You see it a lot with American horses. A lot of top American trainers and drivers will give a kind of a blurb about a horse. When a stallion goes to stud, somebody will give a line about that horse. So we should maybe try and get people involved rather than it just be an individual that writes it. There can be somebody that kind of edits the overall thing, but a lot of these horses have had a lot of people involved with them during their careers, so it'd be quite nice to get them involved as well with background info and quotes and maybe some stories that perhaps aren't already in the public domain about those horses.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned about Arthur Slack last week. I mean, it just speaks volumes for the Stonering's operation. When you look at some of those names, and 4 of the 10 horses, the top 10 horses now polled, had a Stonering's or Slack connection.
Yeah. That in itself is incredible. For a family that isn't directly involved in the sport now as well, it'd be quite nice to. I don't know if anybody kind of been in touch with them and sort of made it clear to them quite the magnitude of the achievement. But it's if I was part of the SAC family, I'd be really chuffed with not only the result of that race, because obviously they bred a horse that the general public has voted to be the champion of champions, but like you say, to have 4 horses in the top 10 that they were either bred or trained or were directly connected with, that's a massive achievement.
Now, looking ahead to the 2020 season, decision was made at committee level the other day that 2020 will be penalty free. More details will follow in the coming weeks.
Probably a good move in light of the way everything's going as well. It's another incentive for some people to keep going. I know people are in a situation right now where they're not sure whether they should continue. If they're training a horse themselves, the costs aren't as great perhaps as if they were training. They've got a horse in training with a public trainer, but there are costs involved. There's time involved. There's a lot of effort for perhaps we don't know what's going to happen. We've obviously had this great news tonight now that we've got this online bookmaker signed up with York and Tierprints. These are massive steps in the right direction to get racing going. That penalty free is another big incentive to say, right, people, come on, this is what's going to be on offer when we do get racing going. I'd call it a little sweetener, if you like, for people to keep those horses going, because the last thing we want is for racing to start and us to have a shortage of horses available to race. That's a worst case scenario, especially there's so many people behind the scenes have done so much good work to put us in a situation and a position where racing, hopefully from early on in July, we will get a season from then through to whenever it ends. So I implore people to keep their horses in training anyway. It's easy for me to say because it's not my money I'm spending, it's not my time that I'm spending on it, but there is that incentive now with the penalty free. So I think that's a really forward decision by the BHRC actually to do that.
And the people involved with the Tierprints, York and the classic races, the Darren, all working very hard now to save the stakes races, the classic races. We're going to have to revamp the schedule of those races, but it really now looks as though those races will take place, the stakes races, classic races, and the Welsh Dragon races as well. Hopefully will be saved.
Again, they for me, in my mind, were kind of the priority to salvage those races because of the prestigiousness of those races, and also the fact that horses can't race, particularly with the 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old races. Next year those horses are older again. It just gets really complicated and had to try and resolve that whole scenario. In addition to that, I know Glenn and Thomas put a message out earlier with regard to the Stag B Future Broodmares races. No firm decision has been made on those because we are at the mercy of the whole country, really, the British government and things like that. But what I had said to a couple of trainers that had spoken to me about it was the Stag B Broodmares races in the last couple of years have generally started in the latter half of the season from July through to, like with last year, the final in October. So if we were able to get racing going in July, then those races could probably still be accommodated by hard tracks. They are restricted to hard tracks as well. So the loss of some of these grass meetings doesn't have an impact on those mares races. If York, Tierprints, Corbywood and Amman Valley are able to race, then in theory those Stag B Broodmares races could still be staged there. Whether the series takes the same format as 2019 with those regional legs and the Group 1 final remains to be seen, because perhaps a decision will need to be made on that at a later date. But at this moment in time, I think the Stag B and the Stag B directors will be looking to try and work with the tracks once racing can get started again to try and have some sort of programme of races for the mares in addition to those stakes races and obviously the other races that the tracks are looking to put on.
Yes, so obviously the next few weeks people are going to be behind the scenes busy working on the structures of the season with the state programme and the group races. Any other gossip on the rounds?
Gossip. I mean, I've not seen anybody, obviously. All I do is spend my time working and checking Facebook and checking my Snapchat for Michael O'Neill. He's fixed his golf buggy. His golf buggy is fixed. That was a real highlight of my week, going by the videos I've received on Snapchat. Other than that, no, I've not really. It was Joanne King's birthday yesterday. She turned 74. She's a hero of mine. Heather Vitale's mum. She's an absolute firecracker, and I think the world of her. Other than that, I'm head down and trying to work on various projects that people keep sending my way, in addition to actual work. But I'm trying to fit my racing stuff in around it.
And we are along the Twitter account, the new BHRC Twitter account, don't we?
Yeah, that's a priority for this. I'll put that on the list. Let me just write that one down as well. That's a priority for this weekend. In addition to that, our BHRC Instagram page, which, I mean, a lot of people in racing are on Instagram. I personally love Instagram because it's all about photos, and anybody who knows me knows that I am all about photos. So I've got the Instagram page. It's ready to go. It's already got hundreds of followers anyway, so that kind of base is there. I just need to get going with photos now. It's difficult to kind of know how to start content for it, whether I look at the Champions 10 runners and maybe do a little bit of a write about those. I don't know whether people want to start sending in photos to the Instagram page of where they're at with things, send photos and show us what your lockdown looks like with your horses and that sort of thing. Basically just get in touch. If anyone's got any ideas for content for the Instagram page, until racing starts there's very little. I mean, we can just delve back into old photos and things like that, but I just want to kind of start getting it going a little bit so we can build up so that when the racing starts we'll try and get to a wider audience on Instagram. Same with Twitter as well. Try and reach out to people that haven't maybe heard of harness racing or seen harness racing, and try and use those platforms to disseminate information and disseminate what we're about and what we're doing, because at this moment in time so many people with a restricted social life, we might actually be able to catch these people while they're bored, basically, because whilst they may never have looked at harness racing before, if they've got nothing else to do, then this maybe looks like something interesting to follow. So any ideas anyone's got to do with the stuff I can put out on the Instagram page, and I guess also with Twitter as well, then please feel free to get in touch with me.
And we're working on the June edition of the Harness Racing Calendar. Folks, it might be a week or two late due to the current circumstances, but we are actually working on the Harness Racing Calendar as well, and lots of good content in there. We've got a few new features such as an Irish angle and a Trot Britain angle, and also in the June edition there will be a supplement with various handicap programmes published for you to look at, because I know that's a very contentious issue in British harness racing, that is of handicapping. Now, this YouTube channel, we've got some big ideas, haven't we? So I'm thinking, maybe a weekly preview programme, on a Friday or something along those lines, or a midweek programme when we know the weekend's entries. What do you think?
Well, my entire role in life is that people have ideas, they decide what they want the end product to look like, and I then devise the means to get to that end. So if you're saying this is what we're going to do, then I'm going to make sure that we do it. It's easy for me to say. It is easy for me to say right now. Yeah, of course we can do all that. When things start to get back to normality with work and other commitments and stuff, I'll probably be like, harebrained and possibly drinking heavily, 7 days a week to try and get my way through it. But I don't see why we can't do it. I know at the moment, feedback I had last week was that sound quality is not great on this. There's a bit of an echo. We are working with me for a start, not knowing what I'm doing. But
TV singing British Telecom.
I've kind of maybe I need to invest in mics. Maybe that's something I should look at. My Amazon Prime has been absolutely hammered for the last 6 weeks, but that's a great facility to have. So I'll maybe look at mics and things like that. But yeah, previews and things like that. I think maybe we could use the YouTube channel more for live stuff like this. Whether it's you individually, whether it's me individually, whether it's guests every week. And like you say, once racing starts, actually going through the start sheet, because I know you and I find it difficult sometimes on a race day to find time before racing to actually go through the card. And I know because we have on normal race meetings we do the draw maybe an hour before the first race, so we're trying to cram that preview in between the draw finishing and the first race starting. If you've got qualifiers before racing, that makes it difficult. If I've got a horse there that I need to look after, it makes it difficult. it gets a bit time pressured, and perhaps we don't give it enough time because we simply don't have that time to give it. So perhaps a preview once the start sheet is out, once the official card is published, doing it this way the day before, albeit without the draw potentially. I'm not sure how this is going to work with the online bookmakers, whether we'll need to do ballots midweek and things like that for the purposes of online betting and stuff. But
midweek.
In which case it makes our job even easier, because you and I, assuming the ballots, let's say the ballots are on a Wednesday for racing on a Saturday, that leaves us Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night for you and me to just sit here and have a conversation about the runners, the way the race has been framed, form and all that sort of thing. But not necessarily just you and me. The facility here is that, all being, if it works on Friday with Mick and Eric, that we can actually have people on, regional people even. For example, Kaylee Evans could come on to speak, about racing in Wales, and if somebody from Scotland could come on and talk about the racing in Scotland, and somebody that's based, in and around York could come on. Different people to give their view of how the race card kind of looks to them before racing happens, and it just gets people's different opinions in as well. So I'm all for that.
Yeah. And I should point out, driver declarations, not just for live stream meetings, but for all meetings, driver declarations will need to be made in advance. It's a new committee ruling which was passed back in February.
So we'll avoid the situation where Willie Greenhorn is driving 5 horses in an 8-horse race at Corbywood, and Grant Cullen drives the other 3.
Yeah. So driver declarations will be made in advance. As I say, that was passed several months ago.
Good stuff.
Right, I think that's it. So the big news tonight, Sarah, is that York and Prince have signed a deal with an online bookmaker. Government permitting there will be harness racing in 2020.
That's all the news I need for tonight. I can go and have a couple of drinks and play some bingo.
Well, you do live the high life. And fingers crossed we can get things moving in Scotland and Wales.
Yes, all being well. And before I go, I do need to say, I said I was going to go have a couple of drinks and play the bingo. I think actually tonight, to celebrate this good news, I'm going to crack open a bottle of port, get the cheese board out. I've got a cracking slice of Wensleydale cheese there to come into. So that is going to be my celebratory cheese and port for Friday evening.
Wow. Right, okay. Port and Edam, here I come.
Right, thank you everybody that's tuned in. Hopefully this went slightly smoother and everybody could hear us. Nobody's texted me and said they couldn't. Just quickly before we do go, a couple of people have just messaged on the live chat on YouTube. Bernard McGovern, Stephen Lees, Rick Clark's obviously watching, Alex Johnson as well as watching. So thank you everybody. Hopefully this will grow every week, and hopefully I'll learn to use my phone whilst talking, so we can actually have people sending questions in, because that'd be quite good, a bit more interactive. But it's all a learning curve for me, and we'll just keep on improving on it every week.
And we've launched this with positivity, positive news tonight.
Yes.
Brilliant.
All right, stay safe everyone, have a great weekend.
Take care, Sarah. Bye.